Ooh. Uh-oh. Ta-da!
Hello, artist friends! Not too long ago, Rita suggested that I try coloring a page in my coloring book with Prismacolor pencils. So she put together a used set for me to try out. As you can see here, the set contains a wide variety of colors to choose from. This will be my first time using Prismacolor pencils, and I'm excited to see how they compare to the brands I have used, such as Blick, Crayola, Koh-i-Noor, and Castle Art. Over the years, I've heard a lot of people claim that Prismacolor is the only colored pencil worth using, and I've always been skeptical. But now, I'm gonna see whether or not I've actually been missing out this entire time. For this demonstration, I am working on page 5 of my fantasy coloring book, which features all of the heroes disembarking from the ship they've been sailing on for the previous 4 pages. I imagine these adventurers are just as eager to explore this strange new land they've arrived at as we are to get to the coloring, so let's do that. This time around, I decided to try something a little different than I have done in my previous coloring videos. Starting with the Elven Cleric, I used black raspberry to lightly color in some general shadows, Caribbean Sea to deepen some shadows, and add a touch of blue as I get nearer to the highlights. I used Deco Yellow for the warm spots surrounding the white highlight, and at this stage, I haven't even considered what colors anything will be. This is just a general color base that should affect and unify the shading on the character. Next, I decided to color all of the items that I wanted to be gold in the image. With the gold items colored in, I moved on to the deep background, which I decided to color in shades of violet for a bit of a dark, magical feel. This is where I really began to notice a difference in how Prismacolor pencils blend compared to other brands I've used previously. Some of the blending was almost painterly as I moved through the area. I continued on, coloring the ship mast and railings in a range of greens and browns, making them look a bit more like sculpted and cracked marble. Lastly, I added the ground plane of the ship decking boards in browns along with the gangway ramp in the foreground. While this part of the coloring process worked out pretty well, I was not having very much fun, and I did not have an interest in creating the under-render I had used on the Elven Cleric across the entire image. Ultimately, I decided I would just try to have some fun and experiment with the Prismacolor pencils to see where the image would go, and that helped me to get going again on the coloring. Throughout the majority of this coloring, I didn't note what colors I was using, and I did not create a color chart to reference as I often do. Instead, I tried to stay somewhat spontaneous and picked colors that looked like they might transition well together. For the most part, this worked out, but there were a few colors that I misjudged, and the results were not quite as anticipated. I found that the Prismacolor pencils colored very well with rich, smooth pigment. I have some carpal tunnel issues in my left and right hands, and typically using colored pencils aggravates that. But I did find it was a minimal issue with the Prismacolor pencils because they do lay down so much color so easily, and even burnishing took minimal effort. So I really didn't agitate my hands very much at all while working on this coloring, which was a nice change of pace. Furthermore, some of the coloring effects that I achieved while coloring this page were almost painterly, which was really interesting because I've never actually experienced that with any other type of colored pencil I've used. Sometimes the colors lay down nice and thick and they just kind of blend into each other, and it was a real pleasure to work with these pencils. I would say that the Prismacolor pencils are superior to every other pencil I have tried, and yeah, if they're within your budget, I definitely recommend trying them out. I am actually kind of surprised at how good they work, and I wish I had tried them sooner. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope that my demonstration helps to inform your decision on whether or not Prismacolors are right for you, and I hope to see you in the next one. A big thanks goes out to all of my Patreon patrons whose monthly gift helps to support my art and make these videos possible. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know below which character is your favorite. You can also help support the channel by becoming a patron or purchasing art such as this coloring book in my Etsy store. Links are below. Thanks again, and I wish you great coloring adventures.